Next prompt is herbs, and I love herbs. I love plants, but this is herbs, so we're gonna stick to herbs. With herbs, I love the idea of incorporating them in things in a magical way. I love the idea of using them to treat and to heal myself and others. So I approach herbs from both sides. I mainly stick to, I want to say the medicinal side. Not because I don't believe in magical properties of herbs, but because that's where I use them the most. When we are sick, anybody in my family is sick, we try to look for herbal remedies as solutions first. I do use them in workings and things like that, but they are, I'll use like maybe, like if I was going to do a ratio, maybe like the herbs that I use would be like 10% on workings and 90% ingested medicinally. But there is no reason that you cannot take them medicinally and add a spiritual component as well. So I know that a lot of people have probably spoken on the magical uses of herbs by incorporating them into their magics. And I think I want to also talk about I haven't seen all of the videos, so I don't know if anybody's mentioned this yet, but a good way to use herbs that maybe isn't as popular as other methods is to make your herb bundles, but not to dry them out and then use them to burn. But when they're fresh still, wrapping them up and making your herb bundles and then using them to perform sweeps on the body as a method of cleansing or adding energies to the person or whatever it is that you are sweeping with the herbs. And this is commonly used in curanderismo. It is one of, I don't want to say one of the main, but it is a popular way to cleanse somebody, is via using fresh herbs tied in a bundle and doing sweeps on the body. I also think about herbal baths, but these can also be used not just for magical purposes. So I kind of like to do a 2-for-1. So if I know that I want to tackle something because of a sickness, then the herb that I choose or the herbs that I choose to work with, that is going to be the first thing that I look for, is what has been used or is good for whatever ailment. And then I will cross-reference with different components of magical correspondences. Sometimes I'll pull out books. Sometimes I'll do it based on intuition. I think my favorite thing about herbs is how versatile they are in terms of uses. So you can apply it to your body. You can consume it via putting it into your food, sprinkling it on top of your food, drinking it in a tea, or even in pill form. Or there's also ways that you can apply it to your physical body, and that can be in ways of poultices, salves, balms, oils. Then there's also, soaks and baths, and these can be catered to all different types of purposes depending on the situation, which can be a combination or just medicinal, magical. They're really easy to come by and they're inexpensive if you don't have the capacity to, or just simply aren't interested in, growing herbs. You can always go to stores and get herbs. The least expensive way that I get herbs that I don't use that frequently, so there's no point of me having a huge jar with them in it, would be a Mexican market or any place that has herbs that aren't super expensive. But I say Mexican market because that's the market that I frequent the most. So you'll find herbs for cheap. Actually, let me see if I can find some real quick in my drawers here, and I'll show you some. Okay, so I did find two that I have stored in one of my drawers here. So this one is mugwort. And then I have wormwood as well. And as you can see, I haven't opened these yet. Just so you can see that they are from the Mexican market. I mean, you can even buy the tea, and if you don't want to actually drink that herb because maybe there's a contraindication with that herb and some medicine that you're taking, which is why you should do your research before ingesting anything, you can always just buy the tea and then just cut the top of the tea bag off and use the herb. Like, there's no need for you to have to consume it in tea form, because it's basically dried herb in there anyway. So there's a lot of ways to get around, you know, not having some herbs and just using them in your practice. You can also pre-make like spiritual baths or soaks by just grabbing like a bag, like a Ziploc bag, and adding, let's just say you want to add Epsom salt, maybe some other type of salt. Then add in your herbs, add in some oils or, you know, things that are safe for your body to be in. And then just save it for like, I don't know, like a week from now or whenever it is you're planning on doing that, and going ahead and pulling it when you need it. Like for me personally, on a full moon, I like to do a spiritual bath every single time. So without having to think about all the things I want to add ahead of time, it just really depends on the situation, how busy I am during that time, during that month. Sometimes I like to just throw a bunch of things in together, and it's great because I have the time, but sometimes I don't, and I know that I won't. So ahead of time, I will prepare like a bath in like a bag. That way when the time comes, I know exactly what I prepared and what it's for and the correspondences, and then I'll just go ahead and do everything else. So I think I'm going to finish talking about herbs with this last little tidbit. I wanted to talk about an herb, and that is tobacco. And tobacco, to me, is very cleansing. And this also comes from a curandera perspective. And some curanderos or curanderas are using the tobacco smoke to cleanse a person or a client. And what they do is they get these huge puros or cigars and they light them. But it is important to also understand that before they light this puro, they are giving thanks to and speaking to the tobacco herb, and they put the intentions of the reason that it is being used. Then they light the tobacco, and then they keep the smoke in the mouth. They don't inhale it. And they blow it over the person that they're cleansing. And they continue to do this all the way from head to feet and in the back and all around, and as much as is needed until the cleansing is complete. And tobacco has been used for like hundreds of years to do this. This is not, like I said, new, but I just haven't seen a lot of people talk about it. So I figured I would just throw in a little herb tidbit there. But yeah, there's so many things about herbs, and I have quite a bit of books. I recently acquired one that specifically talks about Mexican medicinal herbs, and I really like that book because it will tell you what it's going to help with in terms of ailments. It also gives you like the Aztec name, and it's a really great book, and I've used a couple of remedies from there, and they have been great so far. I also have a couple of other books that I don't have like right here, or else I would be showing them to you, but maybe I'll do like an herb book show and tell or something, because I also have one that's more medicinal though. That's not just herbs. Oh, there's so many books. There's so many books. I think that covered all I want to say about herbs for now, for the sake of, you know, making shorter videos. So I will see you guys for the next prompt.